Hello and welcome. So, if you're a dedicated English learner, I'm willing to bet you know the feeling. You've been studying for years, right? You've put in the hours, but you just feel like you've hit a wall. You're stuck. Well, today we're going to figure out why that happens and look at a whole new way to think about getting better. It's such a frustrating question, isn't it? I totally get it. You feel like you're doing all the right things, but that awesome progress you used to see has slowed way down. I really want you to know you're not alone in this, and it's definitely not because you're not talented or not working hard enough. You've got notebooks full of grammar rules. You've downloaded all the flashcard apps. You've tried to have conversations. We see the effort, but that feeling of being stuck just stays there. So what if the problem isn't your effort at all, but your entire approach? Okay, I know this might sound a little weird, but stick with me. I promise it's going to make sense. This is the core idea we're diving into today. The path forward isn't about adding more stuff, it's about mastering what you already have. Let's break down what that really means, starting with the first big myth. Oh man, I hear this one constantly. I just need more vocabulary. It's the most common belief out there, and honestly, it's one of the biggest traps that's keeping you stuck. So here it is, the big shift in mindset. We all kind of think that collecting words is like collecting money. You know, the more you have, the richer your English will be. But the truth is, depth beats quantity every single time. It's not about how many words you know. It's about how well you can control the ones you already have. And this analogy just hits the nail on the head. New words are just extra weight if your foundation is a little shaky. They don't fix the old problems. They just get carried along with them. Think about it. Adding a word like extremely doesn't really help if you don't have good control over a simple word like really. And here is what that control looks like in action. Moving from a generic word like good to something specific like solid, comprehensive, or productive isn't about learning new obscure words. It's about mastering the vocabulary you already know to be more precise and professional. Now that's real power. All right, let's move on to our second big idea. Pretty much every learner has this goal, and it sounds great, but a lot of the time, it's the reason we fail to make any real progress. So here's the thing. A goal like become fluent gives your brain nothing specific to do. It's just too vague. Your brain can't practice a big, fuzzy idea. It can only practice a specific, repeatable action. This, right here, is the difference between success and failure. Motivation is an emotion. It comes and goes. It's unreliable. But a system is a routine. It doesn't care if you're tired or busy. A system shows up even when motivation decides to take the day off. And here's exactly how you build it. The key is that phrase, embarrassingly small. Seriously, if your action feels too easy, it's perfect. The point isn't to get amazing results on day one. The point is to build the habit of showing up. So you just ask yourself, did I do it today? Yes or no? That's it. Okay, now for an idea that's a little counterintuitive. We all think that the best way to practice speaking is, well, to just speak, right? But what if all that unstructured free talk is actually making you worse? This word right here is so important. Fossilization. It's what happens when you practice your mistakes over and over again in conversation. For example, if you always say I have been to the store yesterday instead of I went to the store yesterday, that mistake can become so automatic, so fossilized in your brain that it actually starts to feel correct, and then it becomes incredibly hard to fix. See, when you're just talking freely, your brain is juggling way too many things at once. You're trying to create ideas, find the right words, apply grammar, and sound fluent. It's overwhelming. But a controlled practice, like reading something aloud, takes away all that pressure of creating ideas, so you can focus 100% on accuracy and pronunciation. This is a perfect example of why this works so well. Speaking is a physical act. In a fast conversation, you might just skip that little ed sound. But when you read a sentence aloud, you are physically training your mouth and your tongue to make the correct shapes. You're building muscle memory that will absolutely show up later when you're speaking spontaneously. Okay, this next part is really, really important because it's going to completely change how you feel about making an error. It's such a powerful mindset shift. Let that just sink in for a second. Your mistakes are not something to be ashamed of. They are the most valuable data you have. A generic study plan is pretty useless if it doesn't fix your specific recurring errors. Your mistakes are your personalized lesson plan. Let's look at a real example. A student says this, it's a super common error. Their brain is just using logic from their native language. where to implies direction. It makes perfect sense, but it's just not how English works in this case. And here's how that mistake becomes the plan. The error itself is a signal that there's a little disconnect. We identify the rule that for is used for benefit, and we make the correction. And just like that, one small mistake has turned into a precise, targeted, and unforgettable micro lesson. So we've busted some myths, and we've introduced some powerful new ideas. Let's pull it all together now and map out the paths forward, the path to control. This slide right here summarizes the entire philosophy. Stop chasing new words and just master your current ones. Stop waiting for motivation and build a tiny daily habit. Stop rushing to sound fluent and instead slow down to be accurate. And maybe most importantly, stop fearing your mistakes and start using them as your guide. And that brings us to the final and most crucial point. This isn't just theory, right? It's about action. So don't wait until tomorrow or next week. What is the one tiny thing, that one embarrassingly small action you can do for just 5 minutes today to start building that system and taking control? Think about it, because that's where real progress begins. You've got this.